y'all, it's me Alex. Today I have a video that is one of my regular anti-hauling things that I actually want. So this kind of counts as both a wish list and an anti-haul all in one. So basically, I would like to not buy as much things as I want on my wish list because I have limited dollars, so I need to talk myself out of buying things. And I also need to tilt my camera down or move my chair up, because this angle is not flattering. There we go, I look so much better! I might need to refilm the other intro and outro. So anyway, now that my chair has been fixed, basically, I'm just gonna be talking about the things that I want and why I'm trying to convince myself that I don't particularly need them. Some of these things I might end up buying anyway, but one of the things that I've really discovered throughout doing this series is that I have legitimately talked myself out of buying a whole lot of things, and that makes the purchases that I do end up making based on like what I can convince myself I don't actually need. When I actually do buy something off my wish list, it is like even more special and I enjoy it a lot more because I've realized like, okay, this is something that does actually add something to my collection. Hello lighting changed my old friend. Why do you keep doing that to me again? I think that's a decent enough introduction. Y'all would probably like for me to actually talk about what I'm going to talk about in the video. So let's do that. Okay, so the first thing that I'm anti-hauling is actually something that you will have seen me dupe in a previous video in a collab with Emily Hanhan and Sincerely Alex Makeup. Go watch that video because I need to go back and watch that video because I still want the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. And I absolutely shouldn't because I have a lot of quality purple eyeshadows in my collection. I am a purple eyeshadow aficionado. I am also someone who almost drops my Erin Condren Life Planner on the floor when I get excited. I have a lot of purple eyeshadows that are fantastic and beautiful and pigmented.
Talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique.
And have a lot more mattes in it than that palette. That is my main gripe with the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette, is that out of all of it, they only have one matte purple in it, and it is a lavender. It isn't even anything that you can like use to deepen it up with. And I know a lot of people like very shimmer heavy looks. That is not my... that's not something that I enjoy. A lot of people who I have seen looks... that's not a sentence. I recently watched Robert Welsh's review of the Naked Ultraviolet palette and he really liked it and he is also a purple lover. So now I'm like, oh, let me rethink this. And also my roommate was texting me yesterday that they were very interested in it as well and I'm like, okay, well maybe if you end up getting it, I might borrow it to see if it's actually good or not because I'm genuinely curious. I think a huge part of my wanting this is curiosity about who Urban Decay is now because I used to really love a lot of Urban Decay stuff when I was really getting into makeup for the first time because my youth leader when I was in high school, she was talking to me one day and she's like, hey, so I went into Richmond the other day and I went into like one of those fancy department stores and I came across a makeup brand that's very, very you, and like she told me about Urban Decay and gave me like one of their little like pamphlets or whatever and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so me. And then when I had money to buy Urban Decay, I did. And in retrospect, like I still use their stuff, but it, as someone who's like really gotten into indie makeup and I've really just kind of experienced that, their eyeshadow quality, at least from back then, really doesn't compare to a lot of the indie shadows that I love now. I don't think I've bought from them in like 3 or 4 years. That probably says something about their quality, but I have heard really good things about their new formula with the Naked Heat and the Naked Honey palettes, and those are something like I have an exact dupe for the Naked Heat palette and I would not use the shades from the Naked Honey palette. Like it's very pretty, very much not for me. It's beautiful on other people. And so I think the fact that they made like a purpley palette, it's allegedly in their new formula, is something that really appeals to me, but I don't know what that new formula is like and I don't know if that's necessarily a good enough reason for me to get it. Okay, next up I want to talk about the new Kaleidos Make Your Escape collection. So I've seen a lot of people get this collection and it's gotten pretty good reviews. The eyeshadow palette is very pretty and it's like an objectively good color scheme, but it's a color, it doesn't quite appeal to me in the way that it does appeal to a lot of other people. So that's not what's catching my eye. What I really need to remind myself that I need to talk myself out of are the blush duos. Now, I've recently gotten a little bit more into blush, only ever so slightly, because I'm still scared of like very colorful and bright blush, but the two duos, one is like more pink and one's more peachy, and it's like, oh, those look very lovely. But the thing that is keeping me from buying them is the fact that it was like a little bit racially insensitive, because they used images of darker skinned women on the packages, but the blushes themselves wouldn't show up on darker skin tones. And that was the one thing, like when I saw the collection, I'm like, oh my gosh, those blushes would look great on me. I did see Alicia of Kinky Sweat's video, and they do seem to apply a little bit more pigmented when you actually put it on than what it looks like in the pan. I don't think that that necessarily means that it's going to work on all skin tones, and that is what I think is most problematic. The owner of Kaleidos did kind of like address it and say like, yeah, we messed up on that one. So hopefully they'll try and do some more, like if they expand their blush range in the future, I'll be a lot more interested in it. And I just got excited because I think it's from the same part of me that really wants to Cover FX blush duos, but those are really expensive for what I normally like to pay for blush. So I know Kaleidos is a little bit cheaper, so I got really excited. Then I'm like, expand your blush range, please. And then you'll get my dollars, Kaleidos. Okay, so this isn't actually something that I want, but I do want to address it in an anti-haul. And NYX recently came out with a Pride collection that isn't actually anything new. They're just putting rainbow packaging on their Ultimate Brights palette, which has been in stores for like 3 or 4 years now. It's not anything new. I actually really like NYX as a brand. Just about everything I've gotten from there are pretty solid. I do have some holy grails from the brand. Like, I like their eyeshadows. Please don't repackage old shit and sell it as a Pride thing just because it's a rainbow palette, especially when I haven't seen any sort of evidence on your website or in your marketing that you're actually going to be donating any money or any proceeds from it to any sort of organization that benefits LGBT people. Like, I have rainbow palettes that I really like. For example, the Elf and J. Kissa palette. That one isn't a Pride palette, even though it was released in June. It's not a Pride palette. It was like, their campaign actually goes towards helping pit bulls get adopted, which is great. I also love the Colored Rain Vivid Pigments palette, which is from a Black-owned makeup brand, and you should absolutely like get one of those instead of the NYX one, which is absolutely like rainbow capitalism. If you're gonna market to me, just like give me money directly, please. Don't give your money to gigantic corporations that, like, yes, they feature queer and trans models, which is good, but like, what else are you doing? What else are you doing, NYX, owned by L'Oreal, gigantic makeup corporation? I don't think you're doing that much for the LGBT community. Like, I'm still gonna buy your eye primer because I can't envision any other eye primer working as well as that one does. But you know what I mean. Please give your money directly to queers like me. The next one is something that I know I shouldn't want because pastels are on me, and I'm really not trying to buy from Colourpop anytime soon, just because of how they've reacted to the Colourpop Me Black movement and the fact that they're not good. I like the products that I have from them, but anyway, the thing that I'm anti-hauling specifically is their new tie-dye collection, and it looks really beautiful, and I think that it's something really pretty for like festival season. It kind of fits into their monochromatic palette themes. Like, it's 9 pans. I have watched a couple of reviews just because I'm genuinely curious, like, okay, can they do pastels? And like, other people seem to like it just fine. There are a couple of pressed glitters in the palettes. which I don't like because I only use biodegradable glitter, and I know a lot of pressed glitters that aren't biodegradable are also like not eye safe entirely, so that really puts me off from that. I think that just the entire like packaging and marketing of it is what's making me actually want it, because I don't like pastels on myself. Like, if I'm going to do pastel eyeshadow, I really have to do like a lot of wing liner or something to really make it look good on me. Like, I'm sure it looks fine to other people, but I really don't personally like pastels on myself. I'm very content to have my little, like, sugar pill fun size palette, and that like my creepy cute palette be like the extent of the pastels in my collection. So the palettes are really cute, and I've heard like 2 out of 3 of them are really good. I was particularly interested in the like bluey greeny yellow one, but I've heard that that one is actually the worst quality out of all of them, so maybe I am safe in not wanting that. And just Colourpop Colourpop needs to color stop. Like, they just, please just, no, take a break, reevaluate your values on like sustainability and diversity as a brand, and then I'll probably come back to you. But like, I don't know. I want this collection to appeal to me. I'm even like kind of interested in their little gel liner set because I do really like the Colourpop gel liner formula, but they're not a brand that particularly aligns with my morals right now, so I will not be getting anything from that collection. Now, something that appeals to me for the same reasons that the Urban Decay Ultraviolet palette appeals to me. I just saw this on Trend Mood before filming this video. Melt is releasing a She's in Parties palette, and this is like an expansion of their stacks. So I know that they did an expansion of the Rust stack and of the Radioactive stack, so I think that they're working on palettes that'll really just like be an expansion of their 4 to 5 pan stacks, which I think is really cool and a really good move for the brand, just because I like the colors in a lot of the stacks, but I know with the way that it's packaged, I'm a lot more likely to reach for a palette, just because if it's not in the same form of my other eyeshadow, I'm not gonna think of it as eyeshadow, you know what I mean? So they're releasing a She's in Parties palette, and this is purple. It is mother effing purple, and I already have a lot of purple eyeshadows, but I also have discovered that for the most part, aside from like that one shade in the Radioactive palette that just like soured the entire thing for me, I actually really like their formula, and I know the reason that I'm trying to like at least make myself wait on this palette is because the last time they did a more like pinky purpley tone palette was their like Millennial Pink palette, and that one really didn't get a lot of good reviews. So I'm hoping, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna see, because Melt's palettes can also be like really expensive when you first get them. I don't know if this is gonna be one of their smaller ones, it's like $48, or if it's their bigger ones, it's like $58. I don't know. So I'm gonna wait and hope that if the reviews are good, I will probably add this to my collection, because it's something that is like, it doesn't make sense for a summer collection, but it's very much like a fall collection, and I love fall makeup just because I think those are the tones that really flatter me personally. So I do really want that, but I think that it's definitely something that I really need to wait and see if it gets as many good reviews as like the Gemini palette or the Muerte palette, because if it's like that formula, I'm really interested in getting it. If it's like the Millennial Pinks formula, maybe not so much. And lastly, we're gonna end this on 2 indie palettes that I'm very interested in. Like I said, I'm gonna try and talk myself out of them to see what dollars I can save. I can't guarantee that I won't buy either of these 2, because there's one that I'm like feeling myself on, but I'm gonna try. So the first one is the Love Luxe Beauty Something Gorgeous 2 palette, and it is all of the tones that I really love. It is just like lovely purples and pinks, and it's very like rich and vivid. And I have just like seen the swatches on their website and on Indie Makeup Spotlight, and it looks really beautiful. Like, it is a cute little 9-pan palette. It really appeals to me. It is like $35, which is a little bit more than what I would want to pay for a 9-pan palette, but they're an indie brand, so I understand that like if you're a 1 or 2 person operation, of course your prices are going to be higher than something you would find in like Ulta and Sephora, so I'm not like super bothered. But what is keeping me from buying from them, words, what's keeping me from buying from them is that I've really heard hit or miss things about their shadows. So I watched some reviews on some of their previous palettes, and some people really liked them and some people really didn't. And I haven't seen any reviews on this one specifically just because at the time of my filming this, it hasn't been released yet as far as I know. If this one gets better reviews than like the original Something Gorgeous palette, then I might be a little bit more inclined to buy it. Like, not in that the original was like bad, but in that there are other formulas out there making similar shadows that are better, you know? So I am interested in it, and I've looked at some of the palettes on their website, and I'm like really interested in the brand in general. I'm gonna hold off, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna watch some reviews, and we're gonna see. And the last thing is something that I've actually been looking at for a few months now, and I'm surprised I haven't like either taken it off my wish list completely or just went ahead and bought it yet. But it's from a brand called Clarisike Cosmetics. I'm not entirely sure. They're an indie brand that I really haven't heard too much about. I've only heard it from like 2 people, and they have one rainbow palette, but they have one called their Real Fantasy palette, and it is a really lovely little color scheme. I believe Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips has it, and like I think I read on like her Instagram that she really liked it. I've also seen I only know her as Bean on Twitter. She makes earrings and lives in Canada. Not Butte Bean, a different Bean, Hostile Bean on Twitter. That is her legit Twitter handle, Hostile Bean. I think she was probably where I originally like saw something about the brand from her. As far as I know, it seems to be pretty decent. This palette is like $45. It has like some purple shades, some grungy greens, some reds. I want to look at this properly so I can really either talk myself into or out of it. But it's really like, it hasn't been at like the front of my mind, but it's definitely been in the back of my mind for a good like 2 or 3 months right now. And I think that it is just really beautiful. So yeah, it has like some nice pinks and like grungy warm neutrals, some purples, like some greens, and like it manages to have a lot of like different tones and textures without becoming like a rainbow palette. And I'm very interested in it because like if this brand is like actually good, you know, and it seems to be pretty decent, even though I haven't, like the little bit that I've heard about them is pretty good. I know I have a lot of these tones in my collection already, because generally speaking, if I like something, I probably have it already because I own a lot of makeup. But just like wanting to try a palette from a brand that I've never tried before kind of gets to me. It's like the same thing with like the Urban Decay Ultraviolet palette. Just like that same curiosity about like, oh, is this actually really good? I haven't tried anything from them before. So this might be one that I'll actually pick up, but I shouldn't let curiosity be the only thing in my mind if I like want to try something. You know what I mean? Like I want to see more reviews, but curiosity might get the best of me. That is all that I'm anti-hauling right now. I think I'm going to do a little duping the vibes video of the Colourpop collection just because I know I have some of those shades in my collection, so we're going to see if I can like do that because that'll be fun. And anyway, if you like this video, please be sure to give this thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye!